Let me get myself together because this camera. All right, hold on. Okay. All right. Turn this on. Let's do this. Oh. Greetings. On my face. Hello, everybody who is watching, especially on the playback, because ain't nobody here yet. Y'all know me. I don't care if anybody sees it now. This is intellectual property for me. Eventually, when a girl gets famous, well, I don't want to get famous. God, I'll take that back. I don't want to get famous. But when I get well known, because I don't want everybody to know who I am. But some people, I don't make my hair like this. Some people will watch this back. It could be years down the line. Doesn't matter. It's going to reach somebody. And the way spirit works, it will reach who it needs to reach when it needs to reach them. So I will want to start this off with a prayer. I think I'm going to start doing a lot of praying online. I've done a couple prayers online before, not video, but typed out. But I want to make a prayer for this new year for all of us. Happy New Year. Dear God, please touch the person who is watching this live, whether it's live, playback, well, likely will be playback. Please grant all their desires for 2025 that align with them in their spiritual elevation and their spiritual purpose. God, please touch these people. Allow them to have an open heart, open mind. Allow them to receive and give love so freely as you do. God, please let these people know whatever is troubling them, whatever relationship issues they have with themselves and others, even if it's a specific group of people, whatever relationship issues they have in general, please, God, touch them, heal them, and allow them to get to a space where they can accept their relationship and send it unconditional love, even if it means they gotta leave. Amen. Right? All right, so I do want to talk about spirituality. I'm going to try not to make this one that long. I'm probably going to break this up into parts. So this is part 1. The secrets of spirituality that I wouldn't even say is necessarily a secret. It's just some things that I have pondered on, my own deep theories of God and, spirituality, religion, atheism, all of those things. And I want to first highlight a couple of things. If you see it looks a little different in here, it's because I changed my room around. I really want to take this down because ain't nothing secret back there, but I don't want everybody looking at my plans. But I'm going to block it with my big old head. So this is the workspace. The new workspace. I changed my bedroom around. I changed my office space around. So it'll be more inviting for this 2025. And first off, let's start with God is the greatest. What I'm going to talk about today might bother some people. I don't really care. It's almost as if I'm inviting y'all to be bothered. I think that is a part of my life purpose, is to make y'all uncomfortable. And excuse me. And I know some people are like, well, that's not good. It is good because you won't grow if you're comfortable. You won't think outside the box if you're so busy inside that box. You know what I'm saying? So take a sip of my coffee. So again, I'm not here to offend anybody with my beliefs. If my beliefs offend you, you're on the wrong page. You can go ahead and just click off or unsubscribe, whatever the case may be. I'm not offended by people disagreeing with me. I don't care. Actually, I invite you to. But when I invite you to disagree with me, I think I said this before on previous videos on here. I know I say it a lot on TikTok. But I invite people to disagree with me, but I invite people to disagree with me logically. If you know that you are in your feelings, don't disagree with me. Because even if I get into my feelings, that don't turn my logic off. A lot of times when humans get into their feelings, the logic is gone. It doesn't work like that for me. Not all the time. I say that. I say 90% of the time I'm purely logical even when emotions are involved. But if you're going to disagree with me, use facts, not feelings. And if you're disagreeing with my opinion about God when there's really no facts about God, we could talk about the Bible. We could talk about, because I know that Bible. We could talk about the Upanishads, that's Hinduism for people who don't know. We could talk about the Quran. I don't know them, but I read them in passing, right? We could talk about all those things spiritual, but y'all not going to be able to prove anything because none of it's fact. So, and if I get a little long-winded, that's just who I am. I'm sorry. I can't leave my hair out. I'm going to be messing with it. I'm sorry. I'm a STEMmy. I like stimulation all the time. I'm trying, and the older I get, the worse it gets. So, okay. Oh my God. Come on, because I had this. It was crinkled. I might have to just wash it out. Let me stop being so critical of myself. I can't help it, though, when I'm on camera. Anyway, you're not to do. That's the ND. The neurodivergence do it. All right, so I'm not here to offend anybody. I'm here to open the minds and hearts of people who are open-minded and open-hearted, right? So when we get into these discussions, first of all, I am going to criticize religion. And for some reason, people think that when you criticize something, that means you hate it automatically. That's not the truth. When criticism means that, hey, there are areas in which you can improve, it doesn't mean that it's not even that it's not good enough. Well, sometimes it does, but not all the time. It just means, hey, there's areas in which you can improve. And that's the same goes for people. If somebody's criticizing you, it doesn't necessarily mean they hate you. It means that they love you enough to tell you, hey, there's areas in which you can improve. And I think you should. So let's jump into it. I want to first start off talking about my theory of God and existence, heaven and hell. I'm going to try to keep this short. I did write, I did type some things out. It's very long though, but we're going to keep it as short as possible. I'm going to condense this down. Okay, I'm sorry, y'all. That was funny. Where is this? Okay, here we go. I made this in October. So let's talk about God, right? Do I want to start with God or atheism? So I can segue. I'm going to start with atheism so we can segue into God. Atheists don't believe in God. And the truth, and I don't know if I said this on YouTube before, but the truth in which I believe atheists move, or however, you know what I'm saying, for lack of a better word, how they move or their relationship with God, because everybody has a relationship with God, whether you believe it or not, whether you know it or not. And a lot of times atheists they're just angry with God. They're mad. They're mad at the state of existence. they are mad at something that may have happened to them in the past they can't get over. They're essentially a lot of them just have trauma surrounding God, spirituality, religion. Okay, cool. Let's entertain it, right? But my problem with atheists is the same problem that I have with people that are deep into religion, deep in the trenches. My problem with atheists is they're so convinced for no reason that God does not exist. And they use science to support their reasoning, but the science still leaves a lot of things to be answered. I remember having a conversation with somebody asking them, okay, what came first, the chicken or the egg? Just to entertain the theory, right? And I don't even remember what their answer was. All I remember was saying, okay, well, what came before that? Because then doesn't science say that nothing can come from nothing? It has to come from something. Shit don't just poof and exist. It came from something. Science supports that. These people get mad because that's when the feelings start. Well, what you mean? What came first? Something had to make that egg or that chicken, whichever one you said came first. And you see how your atheism and lacks logic. It has fallacy, because if I keep asking you questions, you're going to keep getting to a root of not understanding or not having an answer. And because we don't have an answer, some people will call us dumb because we have to be like, oh, well, you got to make up an answer, so let's just say God. But God is the only fathomable thing. Excuse me. Because God is the unfathomable. So when you can't fathom, hey, how did we get here? The easiest yet most complex answer is going to be God. Because the whole asking me, how do I prove that God exists? You exist. That's my proof enough. Because how in the freak are we here in this meat suit? If you're an aware person, you're like, how did I? Because you know, when you spiritually aware, you know your spirit is bigger than this body you are obtaining. Attaining, whichever one. Shit. I know so many words until I mix them up. You get what I'm saying? Like, you got to understand. I don't y'all in my business. I'm gonna have to move that for real. But you got to be able to understand that where you can't explain the inexplicable when it comes to existence is God. God is not supposed to be understood to the fullest extent. You understand once you leave here. We all know, and it's always been said, when you leave here, when we pass away, we're gonna get all the answers we've been looking for. But for now, when you inhabiting this, when you're inhabiting this human body, you might not never get the full answer you're looking for. Some of us get the answer because we're not closed-minded. So, and atheists will love to push their beliefs, just like radical Christians, Muslims, whatever, radical religious people, radical religious fanatics. Atheists move the same way. Y'all are so busy trying to get people not to believe in God. It's like a cult. Why do y'all believe in a man in the sky? Oh, first of all, God ain't no fucking man. I don't like when nobody calls God a man. I don't care if you believe in him or not. God ain't no damn man. It ain't no woman neither. It's everything. It's consciousness. It's not a gender. It's not a sex. It's not human. Y'all be a man upstairs. All that that shit. Not girl. Do not put my God in that. God ain't no man. Because men, humans, don't even akin God like that. Granted, we're made in God's image, meaning that we have the essence of God within us all the time. But reducing God to man be pissing me off. Don't do that. Not around me, because I'm going to look at you funny. Even though I don't say nothing, I'm going to look at you funny. Like, man, you upstairs, you saying that to me? Don't say that around me. Oh, damn, man. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. So, here's the theory that I have that supports both atheism and believers. Because I like to speak scientifically because I'm a logical person. I'm an analytical person. And again, it supports everybody. Science supports everybody. It supports the people who don't believe. It supports the people who do believe. Essentially, we know that atoms, matter is nothing. All of this out here in this world, 90% of this is free space. You see where I'm waving my hands? Nothing. There's nothing there. There's nothing there. This materialized, this materialized, this materialized, but in the grand scheme of all the space, only 10% of total space is occupied. So most of this shit is nothing. And even the atoms in which we're touching is nothing. It's a science. So if God is everything, that means God is also nothing. Because everything is nothing. You see, you hear where I'm going? I'm going to say it one more time. Because everything is nothing, God is also nothing. So if you choose not to believe, that's totally fine. Because there's theories that support that ain't nothing to believe in if you choose not to, but you can believe in yourself. You are still a walking embodiment and extension of God. Again, you are the proof that God exists. So even if you don't believe in God, believe in you. Still don't be haughty. I don't like the word humble, but don't be haughty. Don't think that you are God of all gods. Don't think that. Because you will be humbled. You will be. But just understand your own power, your own control. You are a co-creator in your world. God has created all of these things. However, how they pan out is totally up to you. That's what free will does. Now, I believe that when we come here, we have a purpose. We have a mission. Everybody's mission is slightly different. It's all a purpose related to serving, but everybody's going to serve in a different way. Some of us will serve similar ways, and some of us will be totally different than everybody else in the ways in which we serve. But nobody can serve like you because only you are you. So when you come here with this mission and this purpose, it's up to you if you fulfill it or not. You know what you're supposed to do. Well, your spirit knows what you're supposed to do, but your human mind might not. Your human mind might not tap into it. Your conscious, it's deep in your subconscious, but your conscious mind might not tap into it if you don't allow yourself to break, so to speak. Because when you go through a spiritual awakening, a spiritual elevation, you're going to break. Everybody talks about this dark night of the soul, all of this stuff. You will break to be put back together. Not only do you need to break to be put back together, but you need to break to see your insides. You ever wanted to see the inside of a computer? You had to crack that hole open. So, same thing for you. You're going to have to break. Some people try to convince themselves that they don't have to, but that's a lie. We all got to go through it. So, just a quick recap. Atheists, to me, are just upset with God. They're upset with the state of the world. And the only way that they can accept things is to blame God. But see, the thing that people don't understand, atheists don't really understand, is duality. They don't understand the concept of good or bad, that bad has to happen in order for good to be around. They don't get the whole concept of yin and yang, like they are totally out of whack because they feel like, hey, if God is in control of all of these things, why do he allow these terrible things to happen to people? But what y'all don't understand is God don't see these things as being terrible because they're not permanent. That's one reason. It's not permanent. Nothing is permanent. Whatever suffering you went through in your childhood, if you're suffering now, it's because you didn't work through it. You didn't heal. That's your job. That's one of the functions of your job here on earth. It's to heal. So you're still suffering. You're suffering from something totally different. It's just the residual effects of your childhood that's allowing it to happen. That you didn't work, right? So God doesn't look at things as black and white as we do in humans. We're so static. We're so rigid. That's more the word I'm looking for. We're so rigid. We're so, just stuck in a certain type of programming, mindset, conditioning. And in order to, like I said, in order to break out of it, you got to break. So good and bad, God don't believe in that. God believes, hey, this might be terrible to you, but it must happen in order for you to elevate. If you don't heal from it, you will stay in this state until you seek yourself or you seek me. Self is nothing but, and when I say self, I'm talking about the capitalized self. If you know, you know. Self ain't nothing but God. Your higher self. That ain't nothing but God. That's the link, the conscious and the subconscious mind that is linked to your creator. So if you don't seek self or God, same thing, synonymous here, you're going to keep struggling. And yes, it's bad for you, but if you get through it, you're going to turn into a monster in the best way, right? You're going to turn into a beast. You're going to be a warrior. So you think it's bad, but ultimately it's for your good. And again, like I said, I think a lot of atheists, sometimes a lot of religious people forget that. People in general. But atheists especially. Because the way they be upset with God, it be misplaced to me. Instead of getting angry at the people who cause these events, you just want to go to something bigger. You want to be mad at God. But these are people operating in free will. That's the gift that we have. Some of y'all might not think it's a gift, but it is. To be able to control ourselves. For the most part, y'all think that if God wanted to, God wouldn't just stop all this shit immediately? Could and would, according to the Bible, and did. So, free will. Y'all and atheists totally forget free will. The same way y'all have an opinion about everything, y'all can have the right to an opinion. Guess what? If you didn't have free will, you wouldn't have that. So let's move on, right? So let me look at my notes real quick. So moving into the whole free will, like I said, free will is something that comes with your own choices, also mixed with small destiny. So some things you're destined to go through. When you were born into your parents, that was your destiny. The family you were born in, destiny. The way in which they were going to treat you, destiny. You couldn't avoid that if you wanted to. The upbringing, all of that, that's your destiny. Your tendencies, the patterns of your behavior, all of that is your destiny. And it's also predicted through astrology. While y'all be asleep. That's on. I think I'll talk about that in the next topic, the next video, part 2. This might be 3 parts. But yeah, so understand your free will is why if you get a reading from somebody, you read yourself, it might not stick. Predictions cannot stick in this world. Free will has too many interchangeable parts. So, again, let's talk about God real quick, and then we're going to move on to religion. And I think I'm going to end on the topic of religion. Because we just getting started, girl. So, again, God has always been here. to what manner, extent, form. It can be multitude of things. But understand, again, scientifically, energy cannot be destroyed nor created. So all of this that's here has always been here. You have always been here, essentially. Your essence, your spirit, your soul has always been here. Always. Since the beginning of time. It's been in different forms. But you've always been here, darling. That's a beautiful thing when you think about it. That's how you know you're not going nowhere. Death is not the end. Our time in these human bodies is very small, right? To the grand scheme of time in general. Like, dude, we are made up of the same materials of a star, a universe. God didn't make no mistakes. All of this is interlinked. But y'all want to talk about astrology being demonic, crystals being demonic. How is something that is literally made up of the same fucking materials as you demonic? All right. Anyway, so God sent you here. God separated your consciousness from the whole general consciousness, right? And we know that God is omnipotent, omnipresent, omnipotent. I struggles a little bit with that. Meaning God is everywhere at once, in everything at once. God will interrupt. Even though free will exists, God will interrupt. Give you signs to adjust you only when you ask, though. He listens. She listens. They listen. And they respond to those who can align with the collective. Like in the collective, and those who align are those who truly know who they are, down to the most spiritual anatomic level. You know exactly who you are, right? You love everybody. Like when I tell you, I love everybody. Do I like everybody? No. I love everybody. I lead in love with every fucking thing that I do because it feels good to me. It feels good to me. Even if I think that you might hate me now, if I find out you hate me, that love is gone. Man, that now. My love is conditional. But it's unconditional in the sense of I don't have to know you to love you. I want the best for everybody. Truly. Because we are in this mug together. We need each other. I keep saying this. But once you reach self-actualization, you have the ultimate connection to God. You hear God. It's like a breakthrough of all the noise that makes you human. It's a voice or a feeling that comes through so clear when you have that connection. So, I do believe in reincarnation. I'll talk about that on the next one, though. Let me write that down. Reincarnation. And that's going to be really linked to astrology, too. When we tap into that, the next video probably going to be a little bit better than this one. Because this is just the beginning, right? But I think the major problem we have with religion, because now I'm going to get into religion, I'm going to end on this note, isn't religion itself, is the way that the tool in which is religion is used. Religion is meant to be a tool, y'all. It's not meant to be a strict way of life as people have made it be. I've been saying this for the past 6 months to a year. Religion is worldly. I can't, for the life of me, I don't understand why it's not clicking with the religious fanatics that this thing came from man. It came from, it's earthly. When you leave, when you pass away, God is not going to give a fuck about no scripture. And if you don't know, I feel bad for you. That means if you don't know, you really ain't tapped in like you think. And I love Christians that understand, because there's some people who like, you know what? I understand that you have your own way of getting close to God, and I respect that. Christians that are like that are not the ones that I'm talking about, because honestly, I'm becoming more akin to that type of Christian group. You know, even though I'm not going to ever label myself as any religious affiliation, understand that I study and I love all of them in ways, and I dislike all of them in the same ways. But for me, when I decided to give up religion, is when I got real close to God, and also is when I started to respect Jesus and the things that he did, not the religion, but Jesus. And I will say this is what a lot of people get mad at me about, because they're like, how you love Jesus, but you don't believe he's the Son of God. I don't believe it. Sorry, do not believe that Jesus is the Son of God. I don't believe that Jesus is any more a son of God or daughter than I am. Sorry. If I'm wrong, God will tell me. God ain't told me that yet. Jesus is beautiful. Jesus is love. Jesus is all the things that we should strive to be. And inadvertently, I find myself being like Jesus. Not even purposely. It's just naturally, the more I elevate spiritually, I see myself doing a lot of the same things that he was doing. You know, the love that I have for people, the words that come out of my mouth that God tells me to tell y'all, that sits on my heart and my mind so profoundly, the way that I want to give back. Like, I get emotional because I'm so in love with my creator. I'm so in love with existing in this realm and the work that I'm meant to do. Like, I love it. That's why I'm here in front of y'all like this today. Whether people watching me now or not, it don't matter to me. It doesn't. That's not what I'm doing it for. I'm not doing it for the viewership. That's going to come eventually anyway. I know how it works. I got a lot more work to do before I get there. But because I'm here, I'm fine with it. If I don't get anything else, I'm cool with where I'm at. Let me say that right way. If I don't get anything else, I can become cool with where I'm at. Because I won't be. If I'm being real, I won't. But I can become, because I get that way anyway. I become cool with whatever life is dealt to me. I just roll with the punches. But my problem again with religion is it's a tool. And we're using the tool to separate ourselves from each other. The problem, like I said, is that when people, atheists, also any kind of religious fanatic, I'm not knocking anybody for following any religion, baby. I follow almost all of them. And people be like, well, you just ain't got no loyalty. You just don't have it. People will love to project those things. But because I'm able to study all of these religions from a non-biased standpoint, y'all don't understand the type of connection I got with God. I don't want to be big-headed, but I don't think a lot of people is locked in as I am. I just don't. I don't think so. Even the people that pretend, I can read it all over them, all over their body. When people get to going on about God all the time, I'm not mad at them for that. But I can read the energy. I can tell that, okay, you're trying to convince yourself. You're not saying these things for other people. You're trying to convince yourself. Because see, when I walk and I talk about God, it's not a way of trying to convince anybody. I don't give a damn if you convinced or not. Just understand that I'm locked in. And a lot of people, complete strangers can read it on me. Those that's tapped in, they can read it on me. Just like I can read it on some people too. Just like I can read that it's not really in some people, even though they talk about it. You feel what I'm saying? I am a little off topic. I realize that, but it's all flowing together. I gotta say what's on my heart, right? So, religion itself like I said, it was created to separate, divide and conquer. It's one of those things. It's from man, y'all. I'm not saying that God didn't talk to some of these people. I'm not saying that God is not in that book. God is in everything. So yes, in the Bible, yes, in the Quran, yes, in all the holy texts, God is going to be in there to some degree. But you got to realize that these books were filtered through a human. Do you understand what I'm saying? So say for instance, God is talking to me right now. Right? And the message that I'm giving you is filtered through me. So that means that I might muck some of it up or make it in a way that I can understand it and explain it to you, but you might not get it. This is why you have to work on your own relationship. This is why you should not rely on anybody to tell you about your God, your creator. You have to have that relationship. So yeah, you can go to church, you can do all of that. That's cool, it helps. But again, you have to set that foundation. What religion does is it takes precedent for a lot of people over relationship. People will literally think, okay, because I go to church every week, do communion, go to Bible study, that's it. A lot of people only talk to God in their church house or when they need something. Me and God, I'm having a conversation with God every day, whether I'm in a good space or a bad space. He know, she know, they know. I ain't gotta lie about that. But what religion does is it misplaces accountability. Because ponder on this. If you know that everything you do is gonna be forgiven, why in the fuck would you not just keep doing bad shit? God gonna forgive me. And a lot of people who are religious have this mindset. They extend grace to only themselves a lot of the time. And what they do is they tell you how wrong you are. How wrong you are to not be a Christian. How wrong you are to not serve the one and only true God. How wrong you are to believe in astrology. How wrong you are to say universe instead of God. How wrong you are instead to carry crystals on you. How wrong are you? You're wrong. That's all they do, is just sit around here and tell you how wrong you are all day, as if they so righteous. I got some news for y'all. The righteous is not who the fuck y'all think it is. And even Jesus kind of tell you that the righteous was not who y'all thought it was. Not them people that was up in that church. That's what Jesus came down here for, because they was doing the same thing a lot of y'all Christians are doing. Just being violent. You can be violent physically or emotionally. Y'all are emotionally violent. Christians, not all of y'all, but you know who you are. Y'all be emotionally violent. Y'all, oh my God, how dare you be gay? How dare you be transsexual? How dare you? You're going straight to hell. But y'all say one sin ain't greater than the other. Which one is it? I thought if they just believe in Jesus and profess with their whole heart, they going to heaven regardless. Which one is it? Can you imagine if you were born and you feel like you were born into the wrong body and you pray to God every day? Every day. I don't think y'all realize the people who are the most fucked up and who cling to God about their fucked upness, they be locked in way deeper than y'all who act righteous. I have a deep respect for the LGBTQIA community, not because I'm queer myself, because I'm not the type of queer that people will talk down on, because I do prefer men. But I don't tell everybody, and I don't have a label on my head telling y'all that I'm queer anyway. I just tell y'all when I feel like it. But I have a close a closeness to the LGBTQ, and that's not to say that they don't have their own wrongdoings. I get that, but I have a closeness to them because y'all don't understand what it's like to be on your knees asking God to make you different. Try not to be emotional about that. Y'all have no idea what that shit feels like. And if you do, then you should be able to understand these people in the extent. You don't have to agree, but you should have a heart. You should have compassion. I couldn't fully, I can get it, but I can't fully get it because it's not me. I'm not transsexual. I didn't feel like I was born in the wrong body. Now, don't get me wrong. Some days I don't know what do it feel like to be a woman or a man. I just feel human, and I don't like that. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not trans. There's no desire in me to want to be the other gender. But I can imagine the pain that it must be to wake up every day and feel like you are in the wrong body. And you pray about it and it's not answered. And the only way it's answered is if you go and you change yourself. And a lot of times, majority of the time, yes, there are some trans people that regret it, but most of them do not. Most of them become better people when they transition. You got to actually see it to know. Like, this person was suffering as Brian, but they feel better as Brenda. How can we deny them that? Again, don't have to agree, but the compassion, that should be the root. So again, it's misplacing the accountability, because if you were so upset with people being gay or trans, why don't you talk to God about it? God made them. Why don't y'all talk to God about it instead of demonizing these people? Talk to God about it. And I get upset at how y'all talk about these people like they're not humans, like they don't suffer, like they don't have people that they love and people that love them, like they haven't experienced pain like you, and probably experienced more pain, a deeper level of pain that you can't even fathom. And it's not even just trans people, it's just people in general. Y'all have so less of a heart, but you swear you love God. How can you love God and you don't love your fellow neighbor? How can you love God and you don't love God's creations? How? I don't know about y'all, but when I make something and y'all don't like it, I feel a certain type of way. Especially if I put my hard work and my tears and my blood and my sweat and my love into it. You telling me you don't like what I created? I mean, you have a right to. I ain't gonna bust you down about it. But damn. So imagine how God feels, the way y'all talk to each other, the way y'all look at each other, the way y'all act towards each other, the things you do to each other. I'll say me too, but I don't like to. God said, "Come out from the others and be separate." We're more alike than we're different, but the ways in which we're different, I don't operate how a lot of y'all operate, and I never have. Now, I'm not saying I live my life perfect and I ain't never hurt nobody's feelings. Of course, I hurt people's feelings. Shit. Sometimes I don't even give a fuck about hurting y'all feelings. Some of y'all just too easily fucking hurt. But for the most part, the stuff that y'all say y'all done did, if I ever did, was out of retaliation for something that somebody did even more harmful to me. But even still, I'm not a big get back person. Because I know all I gotta do is pray about it. And I don't know about y'all. I'll be praying for God to get my enemies. I don't give a fuck what y'all talking about. God, get them motherfuckers. Kill them if you have to. Sorry. I probably shouldn't have said that out loud, but I mean it. I don't care. If you make yourself an enemy, that means that everything, and the Bible says this too, but that means that everything that you plot against me, I don't want it to succeed. So what do I need to do? Pray against you. And listen, because sometimes God will let you get revenge yourself. Because revenge and justice is not that different. Especially if you're in a situation where, hey, I'm finna get the law involved. I'm finna need people in your business. I'm finna tell everybody what you did. Y'all think that that's not revenge? Yes, it is. But we pretty it up and call it justice. It's all the same. Nobody can convince me that revenge and justice is not the same thing. It is. You want people to pay for what the fuck they did. It's the same thing. But anywho, so all right, so I think I'm done. I mean, I could keep talking about religion. Religion form wars. We know that religion is a form of separatism. It makes you look outside at everybody and what they're different, why they're different, you know. And also the problem with religion is it separates you from God. Some religions, because Buddhism doesn't necessarily separate you from God. It tells you that God is within. That's why I do love Buddhism. I love Buddhism. Buddhism had its own things too, but only because people use that tool, like I said, as a system of control, and it backfires against other people. But God is not an entity outside of yourself. And religion a lot of times make you feel like that. Religion also doesn't really teach you how to integrate your soul, your higher self, with your ego, your humanness, your lower self. It doesn't really talk much about that. It talks about the flesh, being weak from the flesh, but it doesn't tell you how to integrate. You know, the Bible tells you not to love anything from this world. If you love religion to that extent, which is from this world, that's a fallacy. And even the Bible says that. So I just want you guys from this first video to understand that, hey, we're all on a spiritual path, spiritual war path, spiritual, whatever you want to call it. We're all there. We're all having this unique yet similar experience where we're fighting to be more of our higher self, to be more God-like. All of us are having that same fight. Even if you don't believe in God, you're having that fight. You want to be better. Everybody wants to be better. Have better. Do better. Everybody. So we'll talk more on the next one about, you know, that relationship with self, how it extends to God, you know, manifestation, alignment, and astrology and reincarnation. So I'm gonna knock all those things out on the next one. If you watch this whole thing, man, you a G. You're a real fan, and I fuck with you. And I hope that prayer hit for you real hard if you watch this whole thing. Anywho, so I'm gonna go ahead and end on that note, y'all. God bless. Happy New Year. Less stress. More money. Yeah. Bye, y'all.